What is going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Fantasy Alarm, Bettor Sports Network YouTubes on a Friday afternoon. Another football Friday for us. Got Howard Bender with me. I am Dan Servodidio. We've been on these Friday shows all season long, and we got the divisional round playoffs to break down, give some bets out, some player props, picks, predictions, all that good stuff for each of these 4 games on Saturday and Sunday. As always, if you have any of your own bets or picks you want to throw at us or throw out there to the world to show what you're on, throw them in the chat here on YouTube while you're watching along, and we'll get to your picks as they come in. We'll see if we're aligned on anything or maybe we're on opposite sides of some, but always welcome your own comments and picks that you throw in the chat here. Again, like and subscribe as well on YouTube as you're watching along. Howard, how are you doing? Ready for some divisional round games here?
I mean, I don't know if the question is if I'm ready for it. Are you ready for it, Servo? Pressure's all on you this week after a perfect wild card weekend for you. You dominated. You went 7-0 on your picks. I broke even. Right, I finished. What was I? I was either 4-4, 3-3. I don't even know how many I put in there, but either way, I did not turn a profit. I actually lost a little bit of money because of the money lines and stuff like that. But nevertheless, I am definitely ready to get back on this, on the horse here for the divisional round. There are lots of, different betting trends we can sit and discuss throughout. I mean, where underdogs are and covering and stuff. So let's hit it, baby.
Yo, let's get into it. We got a couple people chiming in here. Auntie Koopy and Ann Dunn in the chat already. Thank you guys for watching along here. Not to brag too much, but I went 13-0 on my picks for the wild card round. So
13-0.
13-0.
Oh,
so I'm gonna try to keep that going.
My bad. See, what do I know? Apparently, I'm losing brain cells with weight. So thank you for noticing, Auntie Coop. I appreciate it.
Let's keep it going though, and let's start with the first game on Saturday, the 4:30 Eastern kickoff between the Texans and Ravens. Ravens are 9.5-point favorites for this one. We got a total at 43.5. The Texans coming off that huge home win in their first playoff game in a while over the Browns last week as underdogs. The Ravens coming off the bye week as the first seed in the AFC. So we got this Ravens Texans game here. Where are you going with this one?
Well, all right. So again, diving into a lot of the betting trends and seeing what's happening here. Since 2000, underdogs are 47, 42, and 3 against the spread. They're 30 and 62 straight up here in the divisional round. So we've got the Texans and the Ravens, which is a 9.5-point spread. We've got the Packers and the Niners at a 9.5-point spread. And if you look even deeper in there, teams who are, I guess it's underdogs who are dogs by more than 9 points, they're covering just about 50% of the time. So when I look at these two games, I'm like, all right, one of them's going to cover, one of them's not going to cover. Who stands the best chance of not covering? I tell you what, man, I feel like with the problems that the Ravens have had, like holding leads late in games, really holding other teams down, not to mention Marlon Humphrey being out, right? Kyle Hamilton's a great corner. He works much better out of the slot than he does on the outside. So, I don't know what you're going to do with Kyle Hamilton. Are you going to try to put him on Nico Collins? Are you going to leave him in the slot? I don't really know. I look at this one here, and with those two reasons, I'm picking the Texans here to cover this spread, actually. So I like the Texans plus the 9.5 points in this one. I do think the Ravens win this game, but I do at least think that the Texans with C.J. Stroud give them not so much a scare, but just like, hey, we're not going down lightly here.
Yeah, the Texans are, I think, our popular underdog pick, but I totally understand why. Because here's a few stats to back up your pick. Some more against the spread trends, and these are for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Lamar and the Ravens in the playoffs at home 1-3 against the spread, and 1-3 straight up to that matter as well. As a home favorite in the playoffs, he is 15-23 against the spread. And on 12 plus days rest in his career, he's 1-6 against the spread, which is what we have here because he rested in that last game as well. But he also coming off the bye week for the Ravens. And then Lamar is a favorite when he's favored by more than 7 points, 1-8 against the spread. And the only cover was against the Texans actually back in week 1 when these teams played. But obviously, that's week 1. CJ Stroud's first game as a rookie quarterback, so I'm kind of ignoring that. But all the trends are pointing to the Ravens, including the divisional round underdog trends that you gave out at the start there. So I totally get the Texans being live in this one for sure.
I don't necessarily know if they're a live dog. I'm not fooling myself into thinking that the Texans are going to win this game. This is more like maybe even like a backdoor cover sort of a thing. As I could see what I could see happening is the Ravens jumping out to a lead because you look at CJ Stroud's numbers at home versus on the road. They're glaring splits. They really are. So we're not looking at terrible weather. It's not like there's going to be like a snow game. It is going to be cold. There is going to be some wind, just 10 to 15 mile an hour with, possible gusts, but nothing like crazy on that front. But still, it's not that controlled environment that he's used to playing. So I look and I say that, I feel like the Ravens going to, grab that lead. And then in the second half, I think just they're going to end up taking their foot off the gas a little bit. And Stroud and company are going to, kind of roar back a little bit.
Yeah, it could be the classic case of like being up by 2 scores and like in the fourth quarter. And you get a late Ravens or late Texans touchdown or field goal to like cut it to 1 score. They try to get the ball back in the last 2 minutes or something, but it could be just like one of those narrow wins for the Ravens. I do see that as a strong possibility. I'm going with the under in this one, under 43.5. You mentioned the cold, so this is going to be not a bad weather game, but yeah, the wind going to be like 20 degrees, but the wind chill going to be like in the single digits. I'm in I'm outside of DC right now in the whole DMV area. It is snowing pretty well right now, pretty strong. It's going to stop though, so obviously all the snow should be cleared, but it's still going to be cold tomorrow. But for the Ravens side, I just think this like 2-week layoff for their starters, and especially for Lamar, I just feel like the offense could see a little rust early on and maybe go through some little whether they have 3 and outs, but just like maybe they're kicking field goals early on. I just don't see the offense starting as strong because the Texans defense I think they're gonna have a good game plan with DeMeco Ryans. They've looked. I've really upped my my just like respect of this Texans defense as the whole season's gone along. They got a lot of young talent, but a lot of really good talent. And DeMeco Ryans is, just a master defensive game planner there. And on the Texans side, as hot as CJ Stroud and this offense has been for the Texans, I could see the Ravens just really, frustrating Stroud, putting pressure on him. Their lack of weapons outside of Nico Collins scares me too. That the fact that they don't have Noah Brown and Tank Dell anymore, and Collins is a beast. He had a really good game last week, but it's basically him, a little bit of Schultz, Devin Singletary. But if they kind of limit Collins, who's the other secondary, third receivers that have to step up, and I worry about that for the Texans. Going on the road too. They're a comfortable team playing in their dome at home as they did last week, but going on the road here to Baltimore, I think it's a tough spot. So I'm going with the under in this one, the under 43.5. And I think, looking at the under, I think the underdog is a lot better in the underdog setting, in a lower total game. So I like your Texans pick, and I'm on the under.
Well, you've seen the stats, man. The under in the divisional round since 2000. 45, 46, and 1. One push. I mean, it's basically it's a coin flip. when you're looking at the way this is. So I like your thought process on it, though, at least as well. I do agree that the weaponry for the Texans is a little bit kind of unnerving. I mean, again, one of the things I'm trying to figure out here is, will the Ravens end up going to more zone coverage? If you look at the stats, thank you to our friends at Pro Football Focus, the Ravens actually were running man coverage more than anybody. I think it was like ninth most in the NFL, and it was probably somewhere only in the neighborhood of like 28%, maybe 29% of the time. The question is that do they pull that back now that they don't have Marlon Humphrey? And where are you looking? John Mechie is a solid option. He's going to be the other outside option. They're going to have Robert Woods in the slot. They're going to mix in Xavier Hutchinson here and there. I could see them doing more 2 tight end sets to get Brevin Jordan more involved there. The Ravens do handle the tight ends very, very well. So, I think with Kyle Hamilton being like a man alone on an island right now and not being a good outside corner, I mean, maybe this is kind of loving on Nico Collins and what he did last week, but 77.5 receiving yards, knowing that Humphrey is out now. I kind of like the over in that one for his prop. Got it for -115 on BetMGM.
All right. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to be, especially if the Texans are trailing, I could see Stroud going to Collins a lot and just maybe by necessity, just trying to force it to him anyway. So
high volume.
All right. One of my props for this one, as soon as Mark Andrews got, there's news that he's not expected to be activated off IR. Right. This became instantly my favorite prop because I've been riding Isaiah Likely's yardage prop ever since Andrews been out, and it's been cashing, and I got to go back to it. So I'm going Isaiah Likely over 36.5 receiving yards over on BetMGM, -120. Again, it's Likely as the tight end number 1, as Andrews not expected to return. He was practicing, but he's reported today that he's not going to play Likely. So Isaiah Likely, 40-plus receiving yards in the last 5 games with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. In that Week 18 one with Tyler Huntley, he only had 31, but with Lamar, he's been a favorite, reliable target. It's been a lot of him, Zay Flowers, Odell too, but Likely at the tight end. As we saw with Andrews, he is a guy for Lamar in this passing attack. And the Texans have struggled against tight ends all season long, allowing an average of 65 receiving yards to the tight end position this year. David Njoku had a huge game against this defense last week. Harrison Bryant also popped up too, but I expect Likely to have another good game here, as just like, especially on the third downs, he is Lamar's guy a lot of times.
Yeah, I did some write-ups for all of the games over at fantasyalarm.com from a DFS angle. So if you don't have a subscription to Fantasy Alarm, you're not going to be able to read those. So do yourselves a favor, get the all-pro package, go to fantasyalarm.com/win and just take care of it right there. No promo codes right now. We got an MLB draft guide coming out and all sorts of other content for NFL. Coop is working feverishly on all of his dynasty NFL stuff. So lots coming out here from Fantasy Alarm. So fantasyalarm.com/win is where you want to go and sign up for that all pro sports package. Now, what I did, I immediately went to those articles that I did, and I immediately updated it. Let everybody know Mark Andrews, Ian Rappaport saying that he's expected to be out. And then, little tagline right under Isaiah Likely. Very, very bullish on Isaiah Likely this week. Texans are bad against the tight end. 100% support you in this one here. I'll definitely be locking him into DFS lineups, and I'll probably hit this over 36.5 receiving yards prop as well.
Yeah, I was very, hesitant to obviously go in on Likely with the possibility Andrews would be playing, because obviously, but with Andrews out, this is Likely just in a really good spot now. All right. Packers 49ers is the night game on Saturday night. We got the 49ers as 9.5-point favorites. We got a 50.5 game total in this one. San Francisco is the home team. San Fran coming off the bye as the 1 seed. The Packers getting that huge win over Dallas as the outright underdogs winning.
I'm like Pavlov's dog. Anytime somebody talks about the Packers beating the Cowboys, I start to salivate. I really, really do. It was so beautiful. But anyway, I don't want to dwell on that. Let's focus here on this one.
So this is a game I think we're pretty aligned on
Oh.
with how we see this one going. Wipe the spit off your face.
Sorry. I'm so embarrassed.
We don't have to talk about the Cowboys anymore. The 49ers Packers though. Listen, I am on the 49ers here. I am on the over here, and it looks like you are too. So I'll let you go first here to break it down.
Well, I mean, it's simple math. If dogs by more than 9 points have been covering 50% of the time, and I love the Texans to cover, I obviously think that the 49ers, they're just too good of a team. They've got an amazing defense. I'm not saying that Jordan Love can't deliver. I built DFS lineups with Love stacked with Christian Watson and Jaden Reed because I've got Christian McCaffrey coming back. The Niners are just so powerful. And the Packers defense, they run defense ranks 26th in DVOA. Their pass defense ranks 26th in DVOA. It's just there's so much going on here for San Francisco that I have a very, very tough time thinking that the Packers can beat them in this one here, or for that matter, kind of keeping it close. Like, I don't know, does this have like a 34-17 type of a vibe? Like maybe that's somewhere, in that realm. So for me, I look at this kind of I look at this game and I just think that I love what the Packers have done. I love what Jordan Love has done. I'm so in on their team for the future and the long haul. And I'm very happy for Matt LaFleur, and this whole life after Aaron Rodgers thing is gorgeous for Green Bay. But the buck stops here. San Francisco, they win with authority. And I'm, again, not going to run up the score, but of all the teams out there, who were really capable this season of really running up the score on teams, San Francisco definitely led the way.
Yeah. It seemed like this 49ers team was kind of like on cruise control in these last few weeks to end the season when they basically penciled in to win the division for, the last month. It was, some things went their way, but as soon as they clinched the 1 seed, it was like, this team just they weren't covering spreads a lot. They've been favored in every single game this year, actually. But they're against the spread record wasn't strong over the last half of the season, but I think they just kind of turn it on again. I really do. And as you were saying, I just think that the Packers, as great as the hype has been, as impressive as Jordan Love has been, the 49ers are a different beast than what the Cowboys were. And that was a Cowboys team that just they collapsed, I mean, they put up a dud and they started the game terribly. I mean, it was like,
here you go again, dude.
I'm sorry, but it was just the way that game started. It was like, all right, this is basically over. And I just think that this is a game where I think if the Packers get down, especially early, I just think that the defense is going to start hunting on Jordan Love, they have had 2 weeks to prepare. That game being over, I saw a quote from Kyle Shanahan that it was basically at halftime of that game. He was like, all right, I'm going to start preparing for the Packers. He didn't even consider the Cowboys.
In the second quarter. It was good stuff. Good stuff.
But this 49ers offense, I think, is going to have a lot of success, especially over the middle, because the Packers defense has had some issues covering receivers over the middle. Their linebackers are kind of like a weak spot in that defense. And I think that's trouble against McCaffrey, Kittle, Debo. I just think that this offense, if Purdy at home gets comfortable and he's rolling, then I think the Packers are going to really struggle to keep this close. And the 49ers defense, top tier, top 5 against the run this whole season. And the Packers have had success over the last month of the year. And then that game against the Cowboys, leaning on Aaron Jones, leaning on the run to get Jordan Love more comfortable. If that's not there for Green Bay in this game, especially early, I think that's going to be an issue for the Packers here.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, I do as well. I think that, getting Aaron Jones going, establishing that run, opening it up for play action. You've got so many receivers out there which again, that's one of the things. Like, that's why I like Jordan Love over 251.5 passing yards, because I do think he'll be throwing heavily. And, one of the things that we kind of saw during the middle of the season was that faster wide receivers can get behind these corners and beat the San Francisco secondary on deeper plays. We saw it happen a bunch. I was actually targeting against the Niners secondary in some GPP tournaments, during the season, just because, nobody was really picking up on that. So now that Christian Watson's back, he's a deep threat. Dontavian Wicks can be a deep threat. Romeo Doubs can do, both. Jaden Reed's great over the middle guy. He's not really, he's more of a slant guy than he is like worrying about him going deep. But I think Jordan Love's going to have to pass. So over the 251.5 passing yards there works for me as well. So we're lined up pretty similarly here.
Yeah, I like that one a lot because I think the game script and the way the game I see playing out fits right into Jordan Love throwing it a bunch. I looked at Love's.
He'll go for 249 now. Don't worry.
No. I looked at his passing attempts, but I like your pick on the passing yards here because, I think the 49ers are really going to bottle up the run game for Green Bay. But that passing, and as I laid out, the 49ers having success on offense, like I think they will, points me right to the over as well. Because I do think the Packers can still score, 20 points in this game. But I think the 49ers can score 40, as you said, 34-17, 34-20. I feel like it's going to be one of those kind of games. We're both on the over. We're both on the Packers here. I'm moving away from props in this one. There was I looked at, a Jaden Reed bounce back after he held catchless last week, but was worried about that. But I like the Jordan Love prop is a good way to go here.
Listen, if you don't like it, don't bet it. That is always the way we do it. Always. All right,
Bucs
Lions, baby.
This next one, I got a couple props in this one. Buccaneers Lions are 6.5 point favorites. 48.5 is the total. I am staying away from the spread and the total in this one. I was I played out so many different scenarios of how this game could go. With the Bucs keeping it close, with the Lions getting possibly a double-digit win, it being lower scoring, it being higher scoring. So honestly, I'm staying away. But you like a pick in this one on the game?
Yeah, give me the Lions minus the 6.5 points. I feel like, one of the things, the defense, the pass rush, Aiden Hutchinson going after Baker Mayfield. We've seen him get sacked a bunch of times. We've seen him get rattled before. I think Detroit is going to be amped up. I really do like their pass rush. They do also handle the running game very, very well. They did not give up a lot of rushing yards per game over the course of the season. And so, if the Bucs can't get Rachaad White going and the ground game going, is that a difficult thing for them? I could see the Lions kind of jumping out to a decent lead and then just running the football. I mean, I know that Vita Vea is in the middle and you don't want to run on the Bucs, but one of the things that we've always said is that running is the luxury of the winning teams. And that's once you get that, if you can run the football and you get a lead, then you're going to want to hold that lead as much as possible. So you're going to want to chew the clock up. You're going to want to do it that way. So I kind of see that as the game plan here. Rattle Baker Mayfield. Yes, they'll give up some stuff there, right? I mean, they'll give up a touchdown or two. Maybe they'll give up some passing yards there. But overall, I just see the Lions dominating on this in this game. I'm on Ross St. Brown. Absolutely spectacular in man coverage. Bucs run a lot of man coverage. I think he's going to be good. I love the fact that they've opened up the route tree for Jameson Williams. That's going to be dangerous because what the Bucs secondary does is they funnel everything to the middle. You got Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis on the outside. They funnel it all to the middle. So that helps the guys who go across the middle and the guys like Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, the tight end. That's huge. The Bucs have been terrible. I think the Bucs gave up the third most fantasy points per game to the tight end. Right. So I'm bullish on Laporta and Amon-Ra. And now that they've opened up Jameson Williams' route tree, because we saw him catch passes across the middle last week.
Yeah.
Didn't see that one happening at that point. And I know that that's something that Dan Campbell said way back in the beginning of the season was he is He wants to, develop Jameson Williams to be a complete wide receiver. He doesn't want to just use him as a deep threat. So we saw that happen. So that's why I just think this is going to be just too much for the Bucs to be able to handle. So yeah, Lions minus the 6.5. And just because I said it, right? Because I said it favors the tight end, Sammy Laporta, baby, anytime touchdown. It's plus 125.
He scored a touchdown last week, even though he played, his yardage and his involvement wasn't really there. But down near the red zone, Goff looked for Laporta.
Give me.
You were talking about the receiving core for the Lions, and Josh Reynolds is another guy that stepped up last week. Like they now have multiple weapons for Goff that have really come on strong later in the year. And if Laporta, another week of getting healthy, I think that's huge. On Wednesday's show, we had Britt Flynn giving out some props and some picks for all these games. She threw out Amon-Ra St. Brown's receiving yards props that she likes. So, that's what she on. I totally see him having a good game in this one. Sticking with the Lions, another anytime touchdown pick that I like. You like Laporta? Give me David Montgomery. Just with the touchdown production that he has been on, he is a scoring machine. 11 of 14 games this year, he's scored a touchdown during the regular season. He scored last week in that wild card game. He is the clear goal line back in this offense. He sees the large majority of carries, down near the goal line, down within the 5-yard line. Like he is the guy when they get close, if they want to run it and punch it in. Just being with the odds being like minus 115 on BetMGM to score a touchdown, I just think that's so low for a guy that's had his consistent scoring track record this year. And we saw it last year, the Lions, when they want to run the ball with David Montgomery last year, or with Jamal Williams last year. But this year it's been Mr. Montgomery as the big back. Obviously Gibbs is flashing there, but yeah, give me the anytime touchdown for David Montgomery. And he missed, he got knocked out of last week's game early, but he hasn't been on the injury report these last couple of days, so it seems like he's fine. He's gonna be good to go for this. So
14 carries last week to only 8 for Jahmyr Gibbs. We know who the lead dog is here.
Yeah. The other prop I'll throw out here, and it goes right into kind of what you were saying. If the Lions get out early, we see the Bucs having to pass more. Rachaad White gets bottled up. I like Mike Evans to go over his receiving yards. He had only 48 last week in that game against the Eagles, but he dropped multiple deep balls in that game. It could have been a much bigger stat line for him. And obviously the Bucs did not need to be passing for a lot of the second half. So he kind of saw a lot of targets early on, but Eagles were getting blown out. So it did not need to do much. But again, he dropped multiple balls. I think he catches at least one of those deep balls in this game because the Lions have been very susceptible to some of these bigger games by opposing wide receiver ones. They're strong against the run, but their pass defense has been an issue. Look at the last 4 games for them. Puka Nacua last week, 181. Justin Jefferson, 192. CeeDee Lamb, 227. Justin Jefferson, 141. I know Chris Godwin and Evans are kind of the 1-2, 1A, 1B, but I think it's an Evans game. He's boomer bust every week, but I think this is going to be a higher yardage game for him, even if the Bucs are losing.
Oh yeah, I mean Godwin much less utilized, in the games. Yeah, he was definitely a rock solid play this year and everything. So yeah, Evans is the one in there. I don't think Godwin is even the one. He's the 2. He's not even the 1A anymore.
Yeah. Mile High Luke on YouTube here asking about Rachaad White's receptions prop to go over in this game. I'm pulling it up right now to see what the total is.
If it's more than 3.5, I don't know if I'm going to jump into it.
It's at 3.5 plus 115 to the over on BetMGM.
Yeah. I mean, 4 catches, not terrible. When was the last time that Rachaad White had that many catches though? Like that's.
Well, the game script here probably favors, him getting more dump off receptions. So I will say that. He only had 1 catch last week against the Eagles. Had 4, 4, and 6 in the last 3 games before that, though. So yeah, he's a guy that's been used plenty in the passing game throughout the year, and I think the game script would favor his receiving lines a lot more than his rushing lines in this one. If you are looking at props for Rachaad White,
yeah. It's not bad. It's not bad. I don't know. I probably wouldn't touch it.
Okay.
There's a reason. Like, I mean, 4, 4, and 6, in the 3 games prior, and held to just 1 in a game where, it's like, it's so obvious, right? If you want to actually look at it in that fashion and just be like, I mean, it's like the games prior. I mean, there's no real rhyme or reason. There's no real pattern. I mean, as far as like what his passing work is gone. And I think just the recency bias of where he is, that's where everybody is. But why is Vegas putting that at plus 115 then? Like, if Vegas thought that it was like that close or whatever, plus 100 maybe, minus 105. So I do worry about the plus 115 line on that.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't also looked at how the Lions are against pass catching, running backs out of the backfield catching passes. Like, so that might be something you want to look at more.
When they faced each other in week 6, Detroit won the game. I think it was like 20-6. Rachaad White only 3 catches for 12 yards in that game.
Okay. Yeah. So you're saying go under on the Rachaad White?
I'm saying I wouldn't touch that prop.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
It's not a prop that I would look to bet.
All right, last game, Chiefs Bills. This is the big game of the weekend, in my opinion, and the spread and all the storylines around it obviously pointing to that direction. The Bills are 2.5-point favorites at home. 45.5 is the over/under. We are both on the Chiefs here, and I'll go quickly first here. Listen, you're gonna give me Mahomes as an underdog, Mahomes and the Chiefs as an underdog. I don't care if it's his first road playoff game in his career. He's had the benefit of playing at home throughout his playoff career, but as an underdog in his career, not just the playoffs, he is 7-3 straight up, 8-1-1 against the spread as a dog. He is undefeated with the Chiefs in the wild card and divisional rounds. Obviously, again, he's been playing at home, but listen, I think that the Chiefs have found something late in the year. They went through a lot of issues on offense with the drops, with the inconsistent play at receiver, but they have Kelsey playing well. They have Rashee Rice playing like a beast. They got Pacheco running hard. The defense is playing lights out over the last handful of games now, and last week shut down the Dolphins. I think this Chiefs team, I know they're underdogs because it's kind of like a toss-up and it's on the road, but give me the points all day here. I suggest going with the +3 if you can get that on BetMGM. It's like minus 130. I would suggest going for that instead of just the +2.5, just to have that little comfortability. But you, and I think I do too, you like the Chiefs to win outright. Give you the money line, right?
Indeed. You can take the -2.5, the +2.5. I think that's like +100 right now on BetMGM. Yeah. So why don't I just say, give me the money line. I think the Chiefs win this game. So for +120, I'll be a little bold. I'll be a little brazen and forego the point total here for the better odds. That's where I'm looking. So yeah, I mean, I do. I think the Chiefs win this game. You know what it is? A lot of injuries on defense for the Bills right now. Their linebacking core is all banged up. Their entire secondary is all banged up. Yes, they will probably have Rasul Douglas back, but I mean, again, he's not at 100%, and it's a troubling situation there because it is. It's Pat Mahomes. I know they just opened up the practice window for Sky Moore, so there's an outside chance he plays. And it's just a matter of, weaponry that they've got. I don't know if Kadarius Toney's going to be there. Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce are musts always. I mean, I love them both, and I think they're both going to, really perform well this week. But it's going to be who's that third pass catcher for the Chiefs that's going to pop, right? Is it going to be that rando touchdown to Noah Gray, or is it, are we going to see somebody like Richie James or Kadarius Toney really step up and just contribute enough to give the Chiefs the edge? I think that's kind of where we're at. And then Josh Allen, he just takes so much on his own, right? And he just wants to do everything. So if his back is to the wall, he's going to make some mistakes. I didn't even look at what his prop was for throwing an interception in this one. I know it didn't hit last week. I'm so sorry, but
that means it's going to hit this week.
Right? It's due. It's due. So yeah, I like the Chiefs money line, and I do think that there is a heavy lean on Travis Kelce in this one as well. He's the bread and butter. So over 5.5 receptions, it's minus 145 on BetMGM. It's a little juice on there. So maybe mix that in with with a parlay of some sort here. Do you have another prop that you can throw out for this one here to parlay them up?
Well, I got to double down on your Kelce prop because I'm on the over on this too, over 5.5 receptions. Going back, looking at his career, so he had, 7 catches last week, even though he had a few drops too in that game. He still had 7 catches. But looking at his playoff career, he is averaging almost 8 receptions per game in his playoffs career, at least 6 catches in 14 of 18 playoff games. This is a dude that shows up. Mahomes is looking at him heavy in these playoff games. With Mahomes, too, the sample size a little bit shorter, but 6+ catches in 12 of 15 games with Mahomes at quarterback on the Chiefs, including 9 of the last 10, 5 straight. This reception prop's just a little low, so I love this betting straight up. But if you wanted to parlay it, I also like Mahomes over his rushing yards in this game.
Ooh.
I think this is, we've seen kind of like Josh Allen, but Mahomes is another guy that in the playoff atmosphere, but in these big games, he is looking to run more. He's looking to extend drives more on third downs. Kind of an underrated runner that now people are, now respecting, but he's still very much a threat on like a third down to break off like a 10, 15-yard run. He's broken off long runs, actually run for at least 20 yards in 4 of the last 7 playoff games, a long run of 20+ yards. But in his playoff career, another guy kind of like Kelce, just looking back at back to 2019 when Mahomes started, the Chiefs and Mahomes started their domination here. He's averaging 31 rushing yards per game in the last 13 playoff games here. So kind of an instance where, especially with it being against the Bills, he didn't see it coming last week against the Dolphins, though he did have like 41, I think, last week. But his rushing yards prop, I think, is a good one to pet back here. We got Mile High Luke. Looks like he's agreeing with me. He says, I've been smashing the Mahomes over rushing yards. Yeah, it's kind of one of those sneaky props that he is very live to break off at least 2 longer runs and easily get over it, even though he's not running a ton every game. And Luke also says he likes lots of the QB rushing yard lines have been doing well. I agree. If you took, Josh Allen's rushing last week, that definitely helped. But yeah, some of these, honestly, looking back at all these games, I looked at, like Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, because those lines are lower. And it's kind of an instance where I expect them to be throwing more while trailing, but they're also going to have some instances where they have to roll out. There's going to be pressure, and I feel like they could easily get a scramble or two to go over their rushing yards line. All right, so that's Chiefs Bills. No more picks for you for this game, but we're both on the Chiefs here. You are on the Lions. We're both on the 49ers. You are on the Texans. So go rewind if you missed any of it. Look at all of our picks. Real quick here to wrap up. So I wanted to ask you, you like the Texans to keep it close against the Ravens. Maybe they squeak out the outright upset. Looking at their odds, AFC to win the AFC, they have the longest odds at plus 1,300. Are you looking at that a little bit? No.
Not a bit. I mean, listen, I think that the only bet that I would make out of the, to win the AFC right now is I'd sprinkle a little something on the Chiefs to do it at plus 300. I feel like they'll beat Buffalo I do think that the Ravens beat the Texans, but I think Chiefs Ravens, listen, I think that could go, either way. So plus 300 is the only one where I'm getting any kind of legitimate value. I won't even touch the NFC, by the way. It's going to be the Niners. They're too good. Unless something crazy happens that the Packers beat the Niners, right? The only way the Bucs aren't doing it. It's not going to be Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is not a Super Bowl quarterback. All right. The Packers, I just don't see them getting through the Niners. If they do get through the Niners, I don't think they get through the Lions then. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of where, and do I think that the Lions are going to, worth throwing something at plus 325? No, because I think the 49ers are just going to run the table there.
Well, so do you think, would you like the 49ers to win the Super Bowl there? Because there's still a little bit of value, plus 175
plus 175, there. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's a fine bet. It's nothing crazy. I mean, it's not really, again.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Why waste my money there, Servo, when I can bet on all the commercials and the over-under on the national anthem in the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah. Bet on that, the halftime show.
What can possibly go wrong with that?
The Gatorade color. I'm looking forward to our Super Bowl props show that'll be coming. I'm with you on the Chiefs, by the way. If you wanted to look at right now, because if they beat the Bills this weekend, these odds will definitely shorten, obviously. And yeah, plus 300 to win the AFC right now, plus 700 to win the Super Bowl are the Chiefs. Like that is, I think those are, if you wanted to, jump in on those now before this weekend.
That's somewhere. Yeah, that's somewhere where maybe you sprinkle.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Not sprinkling on the Texans though, but
definitely not sprinkling on the Texans.
I'll love what they're doing. Them to keep it close for you though.
Just keep the game close. That's all I need. Just within 9.5 points. That's it.
All right, that's about it for us. We're getting out of here, but good luck to all your own bets this weekend, and appreciate everyone tuning in on this Friday show and jumping in the comments. Awesome interaction here in the comments section, in the chat there. Coming up after us, we got 5 p.m. Eastern is the NBA DFS Live show with Mpemba and Grande, so stay tuned for that. But we'll be back Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern, recapping all these, looking a little bit early.
Up the pieces.
What's that?
To pick up the pieces.
Oh, no, it's going to be happy tears on Monday, Howard. All right. Good luck with your picks today, Howard. Awesome as always. And have a good weekend, everyone. And take care.
Peace out.